Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to witness basketball history this summer, and I'm not talking about the NBA playoffs. This summer, basketball fans will be blessed with the worldwide event that happens every 4 years, and that is the Summer Olympics. Now, the USA men's basketball team has been known to take home the gold more often than not, except 04. We don't talk about 04, and has given us some amazing teams stacked with NBA legends such as the 1992 Dream Team and the 2008 Redeem Team. But all that being said, it's no secret that the USA men's team hasn't been quite what it used to be, and that is due to many different reasons. If I had to sum it up shortly, I would say the rest of the world has really advanced in terms of talent and experience when it comes to playing elite level basketball. And basically the USA has gotten complacent and I would say even humbled over the last few years. But if you've been paying any level of attention to just any of the news surrounding the USA men's team that is currently being assembled for the 2024 Paris Olympics this summer, you would know just how insane this team is actually going to be. I personally believe that if everyone that's rumored to play for the US men's team actually makes it to Paris while being healthy and motivated, this will actually be the greatest Olympic basketball team we've ever seen. It's the Avengers. It's literally the Avengers. Let's talk about some of the players that we can expect with some level of certainty that will be on this team coming up in the 2024 Paris Olympics, assuming health isn't an issue. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Jayson Tatum, Devin Booker, and Jrue Holiday. This isn't 100% confirmed that all of those guys will actually be on the team, but the USA Basketball website did release a 41 player pool that they will be narrowing down from 41 players to 12 players when it comes to the final roster decisions that they have to make. So I will put a picture up on screen of this 41 players list that the USA Basketball posted on their website. These are basically just the players they're choosing from, like I said, narrowing down to 12 for the final roster. You guys can pause the video and read the names if you want, but we are almost positive that LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid will be playing because they practically said so themselves. And if you really look at the list, not only are these 4 players just better than almost everyone on the list, but they're also, in my opinion, all top 10 players in the NBA right now. So my point is these 4 guys will definitely be in a USA uniform when it's time to play in Paris. Like I said, if injuries aren't a factor. And also, Devin Booker, Jrue Holiday, Jayson Tatum have all been reported to be joining the USA team as well. Now, I know this is a lot of information at once, so let me just, take a second to do a quick recap of everyone that's supposed to be on this team. It's 7 players so far: LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Jayson Tatum, Devin Booker, and Jrue Holiday. And I know what you might be thinking. I mean, this is a great list so far, but you have to fill out the final roster to 12 players. So there's 5 more spots available. And I hear you on that because that's where speculation comes into play when thinking about who these, other 5 players will be. I will say, looking at the 41 players, there are several NBA superstars still available to play on this team. And I do not use the word superstar lightly. So let's just break this down for a second. Take a moment to indulge me, if you will. Of the 6 NBA superstars I just mentioned that will be on the US team, plus Jrue Holiday, these 7 players would account for 2 point guards, 1 shooting guard, 2 wings, and 1 center, and LeBron James, who can realistically play 3 or 4 positions on the floor if need be. So in my estimation, with USA still needing 5 more players, they'd probably be looking for at least 1 more true center, about 2 more guards, specifically shooting guard wing hybrids, like more of a 2 or a 3 to offer some, positional flexibility. I think 2 point guards is plenty when you already have LeBron James, who can, take that role if he needs to for the playmaking. And I'd say also they would want 1 more like power forward that can maybe play center in smaller lineups, and maybe 1 more versatile wing. So that's 5, right? Additionally, if we look at the skill sets of the 7 players, we can clearly see that other than Jrue Holiday and maybe Joel Embiid, none of these players are particularly great defensively. Tatum and LeBron can be useful on defense, and I'm not saying they're bad defenders, but I wouldn't necessarily call them great defenders either. What these 7 players would excel at is shooting, playmaking, rebounding, and elite shot creation. Good athleticism as well. So with all that being said, this team could really use some more plug and play defenders with some versatility positionally that maybe can also knock down a 3 or add some type of shot creation if need be. A player like Jrue Holiday, who can serve more as a defensive minded role player and doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands or plays drawn up for them to impact the game in multiple ways, like someone who can fit multiple lineups, and it's just a good fit overall. That's kind of what I'm getting at by plug and play. Some more complementary pieces. That's what I believe USA will be looking into, because you already have these elite level, shot creation players that can just basically take over a game by themselves offensively in the NBA already. So to add more of that would be redundant in a way and would be kind of a waste of the other few spots. So with that being said, here are some good options that fit into this puzzle, both positionally and skill set wise, in my opinion. For the backup center, I would personally select Bam Adebayo from the list. He is the obvious choice for backup center. Really good passer for a big man. Really great basketball IQ. Makes the right plays. Wouldn't need anything called for him on offense. Can just kind of be in the right spot and provide some grit and edge to the team. And his biggest strength as a player, in my opinion, is the defensive versatility. So you can come in there, get stops, get some rebounds. Really good passer, like I said. Just a really good backup five for this team, in my opinion. For the backup power forward or, small ball center, like I said, if you want to do a smaller lineup, or maybe someone that can, space the floor a little bit while maintaining that rim protection, I would go with Anthony Davis. Obviously, Anthony Davis, top 15, top 10 player in the league already. You guys know everything about him. And while he doesn't necessarily fit the criteria I mentioned for the backup four, like totally, he's just too good to not be on this team. He just provides so much. Again, elite rim protection and defense. You can play him at the 5, you can play him at the 4. There is no matchup issues for him on defense. Super athletic, great defender, is an offensive nightmare for, opposing defenses, and great rebounder as well. Has a really consistent mid-range, so, you could space the floor a little bit with him as a 4 or a 5. I think he's just too good to not be on the team. For the two, guards that I mentioned that I would put on the team, ideally these players would be more plug and play defenders, while being able to knock down a shot, disrupt passing lanes, disrupt the ball handlers, fight through screens, stuff like that. A lot of the dirty work, and without expecting much offensive, involvement, who can really fit any lineup. And the two guards I would go with are Jimmy Butler and Anthony Edwards. Again, Jimmy Butler is almost a perfect fit for this type of role, while Anthony Edwards is not really at all that type of role. But again, similar to Anthony Davis, he's just way too good to not be on the team. We saw what he did in FIBA this past summer, was basically the best player on that team, really took a leadership role. And, I would want a guy like that if I'm Steve Kerr coaching this team, someone that you're already familiar with and you know how to coach him well before. So just makes sense to have Ant on this team. Also can provide elite on-ball scoring and athleticism offensively. Great for, getting to the rim. He's taken leaps in his playmaking as well. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a defensive mastermind by any means, but he can provide solid defense at times when he commits to that end of the floor. Just a side note, someone I really would like to see on the team as well, who fits this role a little bit better than Anthony Edwards, would be Jaylen Brown. So that would be a really good choice as well. Similar to Anthony Edwards, really good athlete, really good transition scorer with some, positional versatility. He can play the 3 or the 2, and he can definitely provide a lot of defensive value and versatility. So any of those 3 guys I would be super happy with. Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown. And last but not least, for the versatile wing, I am going with Kawhi Leonard to provide some incredible offensive efficiency and solid stability at both ends of the floor. Now, obviously, we know, he's not quite that defensive player of the year caliber defender at this point in his career. I'm not saying he's not a good defender, but, in the NBA, at least, he has to focus more on the offense because he's getting to a point in his career where he can't burn himself out on both ends like a young player would be able to. So like I said, stability on defense, obviously knows how to do that very well, and such an efficient offensive player. If you need a bucket late in the game, that mid-range is lethal. I would look to Kawhi Leonard or a closing lineup of the game. So that's 12 players, you know what I mean? Obviously there's going to be more, players that I didn't mention that, really could help this team a lot. Everyone on that list is a really good NBA player, really great basketball player in general. I would definitely mention also guys like Alex Caruso to be that, scrappy defender who does all the dirty work and would never expect, to touch the basketball unless he had to. That would be a good fit, I think. One of the best defenders in the NBA, arguably the best perimeter defender. A lot of times what you see when you have way too many superstars on an Olympic team or an NBA team, the egos kind of don't necessarily match, and maybe their skill sets are super similar. So it's really a chemistry thing and fit thing at the end of the day. You don't need 12 all NBA level scorers or shot creators. That's just not necessarily productive. You want a balance of the top shot creators in the world, like Steph Curry, like Devin Booker, like Kevin Durant, like Jayson Tatum, Joel Embiid. You want some of the best playmakers in the world, again, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, LeBron James, who can set those guys up. And you want elite defenders and, people that won't necessarily demand anything offensively, that can just, seamlessly slide into the lineup and affect the game in multiple ways without needing the ball. That's ideally the team you'd want. You want good size, athleticism as well to go with that, to be able to account for multiple matchups any given night. But before I get into my, starting 5 and reserves for this team that I mentioned, I want to say a couple things. One, I don't expect this to be the final roster by any means. I think there's going to be a lot of differences in who I pick and who Team USA will pick. I believe it's Grant Hill that's actually picking the teams, which is cool. So he should definitely know what he's doing. I'm just saying this would be like the Avenger. It would be like so fun if this was actually the final team, just with the star power and and just, I'll get into that a little later, but I would also like to mention how insanely awesome it is to see LeBron and Curry if they both make it there on the same team. Like, that's just a dream come true for basketball fans. I feel like just to see those guys play together, the chemistry they're gonna have too, like they're just both so smart when it comes to basketball and stuff like that. So yeah, that is two generational talents, two of the greatest players in basketball history, just in the same lineup. Like, that's gonna be so fun to watch. I'm so excited. But now for the 2024 USA men's starting five, here's what I would have. Point guard, Stephen Curry. Shooting guard, Jimmy Butler. Small forward, LeBron James. Power forward, Kevin Durant. And center, Joel Embiid. This lineup is absolutely incredible. 5 of the game's top 15 or so players in the world right now. And again, man, KD, LeBron, Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, like, this is like, I can't believe this is going to be like similar to the team we're seeing. This lineup would provide a lot of really good defense, particularly rim protection wise. I do think there's some perimeter issues if you were to have this lineup. That's why we have some of the players coming off the bench. This is, more of a, kind of fantasy lineup for me, but it would be really, really cool. My 6th man would be Devin Booker because he's just instant offense, elite shot maker and shot creator. And I think he is the best playmaker of this second unit. So he'd kind of take that like on ball 6-man Jamal Crawford type role where he just comes in, looks for offense and, kind of facilitates the team that way to be like, kind of the point guard running the show. That's also just getting buckets, Backup point guard would be Jrue Holiday to come in and get some stops. If the perimeter players are, giving you issues on any given night in the Olympics, some of these other teams are going to be so tough, with their perimeter players, just how basketball has evolved and stuff. So Jrue Holiday's going to be a great fit for this team. He's going to do all the things I mentioned before with Jimmy Butler. Doesn't necessarily need, the ball in his hands all the time. He's a great catch and shoot guy as well. So just one of the elite defenders we'll see in this upcoming Olympics. You definitely need guys like that. Anthony Edwards, you could play at the 3 or the 2. If you want to get crazy with it, play him at the 3. He's similar to Devin Booker, can come in, just hit some, get some buckets for you and, provide lots of transition opportunities. The dude's a freak athlete. He'll get to the rim, man. That's what he does. Kawhi and Tatum for the 4 for a more space lineup with defensive versatility. They're both really good defenders. They can both guard the 4 or the 3. So, really is up to you. I'd probably go with Tatum at the 4 because he's a little taller and longer. Those guys just come in, get buckets. You know what I mean? This bench unit's going to be insane. You could argue that Kevin Durant maybe should be coming off the bench for, some more scoring. And, maybe like Tatum should be starting at the 4 for more defense. But that's just personal preference. At the end of the day, this is a superstar studded team. So it's really like pick your poison, I would rotate AD at the 4 and the 5, come in depending on the matchups. Like if Bam Adebayo is a better matchup for the center, or you want a particular offensive lineup like AD at the 4, or you could run Bam and AD at the 4 and 5, like just some crazy big lineup would be fun. Like, Curry at the 1, KD at the 2, or Tatum at the 2, LeBron at the 3, AD at the 4, and Joel at the 5. That might be a little nasty, I don't know, but that's just a fun like giant lineup. For a small ball lineup, I'd go with like Curry, Booker, LeBron, Kawhi, and Embiid. This is the part of the video where it's just it's just a fun concept, a lot of this stuff. So there's plenty of shot creation for both units in this scenario I've created. Plenty of shooting for both units as well. Great size and athleticism for both units, and good enough perimeter defense accompanied by elite rim protection on this squad that I've created here for both groups, second unit and starters. If this was actually the team, the rim protection would be insane. Like Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, and LeBron in like help defense. Like that would just be like nothing at the rim basically. I would worry about if this was the team, the perimeter defense. I would actually be curious how much you'd get guys like Anthony Edwards and Booker on the floor. When there's players like Jrue Holiday and Jimmy Butler available, I think those are your best options on the perimeter. Kawhi Leonard as well. But either way, it's just too many good players is a great problem to have. It's just a matter of skill set and fit at that point. And that's up to Coach Kerr and Coach Spoelstra to make that work. And by the way, best coaches you could have picked. I mean, arguably the 2 best coaches in the NBA. With all that being said, can anyone seriously tell me this is not the best Olympic team you've ever seen? If this truly was the team, again, I expect many changes to happen, but even if you take like, some of these guys out and swap them with someone else on that 41 player pool, this still would be the best team ever assembled, I believe. The Avengers of basketball, better than the Dream Team in 92 potentially. If the team that I selected actually all made it to Paris on the 12-man roster, this would 100% be better than the first Dream Team in 92. Like I actually believe that. Some of the greatest, of all time on both of those teams, but I just think, given the versatility and, skill set of this group, I mean, it would just be way better. The combination of just athleticism, IQ, and shot making is just unbelievable with this group. It's just insane that some variation of this team actually will be in Paris this summer. So again, I'm just so hyped for that. Love watching the Olympics every time, but this one's gonna be really special, I think. This is probably gonna be LeBron's last Olympics, Curry and KD's last Olympics. You know, hopefully not, but 4 years is a long time away. These guys are getting up there. You gotta assume this could be like a last hoorah kind of deal for them. I also love that as a Sixers fan, Joel Embiid is gonna be playing for, you know, Team USA. He had multiple options. He's from Cameroon originally, and that's the country he's from. So he had an option to play in Cameroon, and he had an option to play in France because I believe he has gained French citizenship over the years. So awesome that he decided to, you know, come play for the God Squad here. It's gonna be so fun to see him with like LeBron and all those guys. So really, really cool. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think of this team. You think it would, how do you think this team that I put on the floor would, you know, stack up against some of those great teams? You know, the 08 Redeem team, right? Almost prime LeBron, maybe not quite prime LeBron, prime Kobe, prime D Wade, and prime Chris Paul. Like, how do you think that stacks up with that kind of group? And then also Dwight Howard as well, I forgot to mention. Also the 92 Dream Team with, you know, prime MJ, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, David Robinson. Like, how do you think that team, you know, would stack up against this team? I just think, I don't think anybody's messing with this team, man. I know a lot of these guys are slightly, you know, past their prime, but even Curry and LeBron now, I think could just absolutely destroy some of those other teams. But like I said, let me know down in the comments section who you think should be on the team. Do you think my team makes sense? Do you think, what would you tweak about my lineup in particular? Are you excited for the Olympics? Because I know for me, it's one of the things I'm looking forward to most this whole year, basically. Like, this is gonna be so hype. Who do you think, like, if you had to give your 12 final roster after looking at the pool, like, who do you think would make it? Like I said, I'm sure it's gonna be very different from mine. Mine's more like fantasy fun idea, like almost like a fantasy basketball team. That's not really how basketball works, but I'm trying to, like, you know, make it make sense throughout this video just because I think it's a fun idea. Dream Team 2.0 is what I'm calling it. What would you guys call this team? What country are you guys from? Like, are you rooting for the US? Are you, you know, excited to see guys like Luka and Jokic and Giannis in their countries, you know, playing for their team? Olympics are just a great thing. Even if the US doesn't win, I think it's just a great experience for everybody to celebrate the game worldwide. You know, once every 4 years, we can all come together and appreciate the game we love on a global scale, you know, match up, see who's got the best team and stuff like that. Like, it's just, this is what basketball's about, you know what I mean? Bringing people together and just, you know, celebrating the game. So I just think it's a great, you know, fun thing coming up this July. It starts, I believe. So make sure you guys stay posted. I'll probably be posting about it around that time. I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know how hype I am and, you know, share some of my thoughts on who I would like to see on the team. Hope everybody stays healthy so they can make it to Paris. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I know some of you guys are new watching this video right now. And turn on those post notifications so you get notified every time we upload. I will catch you guys in the next video. This is your boy D Haven, as always. Peace.